Hi, I'm John. Today we're going to look at how we utilize the publishing features built into Jadu's content portal product. And as you may be aware, Jadu has several different products. Our web CMS, Xforms Professional, which you may have seen a short video on already, and we also have Content Portal. And Content Portal kind of takes all the functionality from our Xforms Professional tool, Enterprise Electronic Forms, and we've kind of cherry picked some of those great features from our web CMS that we think add a lot of additional value to customers looking to digitize or kind of enhance the service delivery across campus. One of those features that we'll be looking at today is what we call home pages. And home pages is kind of the main publishing feature built into Content Portal. As you can see here, we're on the main landing page of our demonstration system. And the page that I'm on is what we call a home page. Home pages are made up of different areas of content that we call widgets. And we'll dive a little bit deeper into what a widget is in a minute, but as you can see here, this page is displaying what we call a home page banner widget. It's basically a widget or an image that's set to display across any page using that widget. As I scroll down, we can see other areas, what we call middle advert widgets. This is simply just a widget that allows us to put a thumbnail image, a link to another page, and a short description. And then as I scroll down a little further, you start to see that widgets can be used to actually pull in data or information from external systems. Here's an example of an RSS feed widget where we're pulling in the RSS news feed from an external source and we're just displaying the most recent 3 news articles. If I go here to an area that we've branded Student Forms Central, again, using another homepage in the content portal system, we can see that same homepage banner widget because it's set on both homepages to display. And as I scroll down, I can see some different blocks of content using our content widgets. So we've just really wanted to draw some attention to some of our more common forms or forms that people might be traveling to this page to fill in. In this case, you can see a couple different examples of transcript request forms. You can see a course add drop form and a university withdrawal form. Now, as we've covered in a previous video about Jadu's Forms tool, you're probably aware that when you create a form, you can decide whether someone needs to be authenticated or not when they fill in that form, which is important across a campus. For instance, I wouldn't want somebody filling in an add drop form to just be some random person on the internet that found a link to this form. So if we click to fill in that form, you'll see that we're being prompted to please log in using our university issued username and password. Similarly, as I scroll down the page, you'll see that there's quite a big area of white space and a big call to action asking me to sign in. When you create home pages, you can have all of the content of a home page or just certain areas of content be hidden in front of or behind authentication. And I'll show you what that means in a minute. We've also put a note here that just lets someone know that there is more content for them to see if they were to sign in. So we've got a sample student user named Sally Young, and if I just click to sign in here, sign in as Sally Young. Once we sign in, you'll start to see a lot more content on the page that's personalized and specific to Sally Young. So here, we know we're signed in because we're being greeted and it says, "Hello, Sally." And just below that, we have some documents that are related to Sally. They might be stored off in our document imaging system or some other system. And in this case, we're displaying these because they're related to some process. And Sally may be curious what the status of these documents are. So as you can see here, we have a column that's displaying the status. And then we put a little content to supplement that for Sally so she understands how to interpret where that is in the process into how much longer might she be waiting. So this is using a widget that integrates with one of our partners' back office systems, which is a document imaging system. In this case, it's integrating with Perceptive content. Here, you can see that we have documents related to Sally, once Sally's signed in, that we can deliver to her. As I scroll down, because we now know who signed in, we can also deliver to Sally, the student, a button that gives her access to all of her historically submitted forms online. And below that, we can see that there are 13 forms that Sally has started at one point or another, but not yet completed. So we've saved those here and made them easy for Sally to return back to the point on the form that she's at. So I think I could make the case that a homepage is a great use case where I have forms that are related to a process, but I need to relate maybe the status of where something is in that process back to someone. Or I want somebody who's submitted those things historically to have access to them. So I could kind of consider this my account, where I can come and I can view historical documents. So if we just switch over into what we call the control center, and how do we create one of these web pages or one of these home pages? Here we navigate to the Publishing tab and we find the homepage that we're looking for. In this case, Student Forms Central is the name of the homepage. So what you're seeing here is what we call the homepage designer. And if you look closely and I zoom in a little bit, you can see that we've broken up the content on this page into what we call rows. So we have row 1, row 2, row 3, and as I zoom back out, you can see that within each of those rows, we have various widgets that are deployed inside of them. In this case, here's the homepage banner widget that we've referred to. So if I just toggle back over, this is the homepage banner widget. Below that, we have 3 content widgets that are just set to display buttons that link to forms. And then below that, we have our sign in button and our user welcome message. And finally, the widget that's displaying Sally's documents to her, which is our Perceptive Content View widget. If I'm not quite sure that the order of these widgets is right, this is all drag and drop interface, so it's very simple for me to make changes to this. Speaking of making changes, it's also very simple for our customers to control who has the ability to create and publish this content and make it live. In this case, as a user that may not have the privilege to make something live, I can still go in and make all my changes. I can save those, and then I can submit them for approval or review. I've made some changes, and I'd like them reviewed. So I'm going to send that off for approval. Now you can see here that there is content awaiting approval. Now I happen to be logged in as the same person that can approve this, but it could have also notified another user at another level higher in the organization that then needs to review and approve this. So if I click approve and publish, we can put a note in here that says looks great, and then approve and publish. Now if we travel over to our home page and hit refresh, we can see that that change has gone live on the home page. The publishing tools in Jadu are pretty rich. They also give you the ability to track the version history and roll back to any previous versions that are in the system. Creating these workflows to control who can publish these live in the system is very simple. Here you can see we have a workflow designer. It's just a simple 2-step process. We've set up somebody that has the role of webmaster that then has to send their approval requests to somebody with the title or the role of administrator. And in this case, we have a test user, and then we have Andy Perkins. One of the other most important features of the Content Portal product is the fact that these widgets are actually extensible areas for your teams, your technical teams to use. So over on the left-hand side, you can see the library of widgets that I have to use. And if I find one I want to use, I can deploy that onto the page just by dragging and dropping. However, back in the settings of the system, we have access to our widget manager. And this is an area where probably fewer administrators in your organization are going to have access to. But as one of those users, I can come in and I can make changes to the code that powers the widget in the system. Or even better, I can create my own widget and upload that into the system. That then becomes a non-technical item for people like myself who are just building these pages to use. So that's the publishing features in Jadu's Content Portal in a nutshell. Thanks.